Hello friends, today's story name is Hare's Intellect. Once upon a time, a lion used to attack animals brutally. All the animals of the jungle seemed frightened and they had stopped going to graze because of the fear of the lion. All the animals were in constant state of fear and mental torture. They had omitted grazing and had hid themselves, but when the hunger crossed its limit, they decided to go to the lion in the form of a group. So the group appeared before the lion and put its offer before him. The animals offered the lion to provide him an animal for his food every day, at the condition that he will not harm the other animals. The lion thought it to be some plan against him and refused to accept their offer. He said furiously, I'm strong enough to get my food on my own. But when the animals assured him of their truth of saying, the lion agreed. After this agreement, the lion's part was sent to him daily, and the rest of the animals grazed in the pasture fearlessly. The name of the animal was selected by a draw. One day, a hare's name came out in draw. When the animals forced him to go to the lion as his meal, Hare began to protest. Other animals requested him to go and said, many animals have lost their lives. Now you have to go to the lion according to the agreement. The hare tried to convince the animals and proposed a plan, but the animals refused his proposal. At last, the hare decided to go to the lion. He intentionally delayed his arrival at the lion's den. When Hare reached to the lion's den, the lion was fully enraged because of the delay. He began to roar in anger at seeing the hare. The hare apologized for being late and put the reason of his delay before him. Who is the king of the kings? Tell me where he is, and I will tear him into pieces. I said to that lion, let me meet my king once. I tell him about you. That lion kept the other hare with him as a hostage and then permitted me to come to you. My friend here is twice so healthy and attractive than me. You will definitely like his delicious meat. As the lion heard the story, he became furious. He ordered the hare to lead him to the foe lion. He wanted to teach a lesson to the enemy. The hare was sure to cheat the lion. At last, the hare stopped before a well and pointed towards the well and said, Your Majesty, both of them are inside the well. As the lion reached near the well, the hare receded. The lion asked him the reason for it. The hare replied, Can't you see that I'm trembling with fear? The lion ordered him to look inside the well whether the enemy was there or not. The hare said, Your Majesty, if you hold me, I will be easily seeing the lion inside. As the lion held the hare and went near the well, he found his own shadow with a healthy hare. To see his enemy inside water, the lion pushed the rabbit behind and at once jumped into the well. He sank into the water and died. The hare had successfully dodged the lion. He went back in excitement to tell the other animals about his success. All the animals got so much excited and embraced the hare and got happy.
How are you today? Today, I'm going to read you a very exciting story. Are you ready? Let's begin already. Its name is The Proud Mouse. It was a very pleasant day. A camel went to a pasture to graze. Meanwhile, a little mouse also appeared. As he saw the camel, he held the reins of the camel and began to feel proud of himself as being his master. According to his nature, the camel kept on walking peacefully beside the mouse. Seeing camel's obedience, the mouse got more proud. In his pride, he declared himself a hero. As the camel saw his pride, he decided to teach him a lesson. After some time, the camel and the mouse reached on the river bank. The river was very wide and even it was difficult for an elephant to cross it easily. The mouse began to think that what should he do now? The camel asked, Why are you standing here? You are my hero and my master. Now face the situation courageously and dive into the water. The mouse replied, Dear friend, it is a very wide and deep sea. I really fear to sink. The camel said, Wait for a while and let me estimate the depth of the water. Saying this, he put his foot into the water and said, Foolish fellow, the water is just touching my knees. Don't worry and come inside. The mouse replied, Dear camel, the things which seem minute to you seems very huge to me. The water which is touching your knees will be crossing my head. Now the camel said to teach him a lesson. If it is really so, then leave pride and do not try to be superior. Do remember that you can only deal with the mice of your size, not with huge camels. The mouse felt ashamed to hear it. He requested the camel help him to cross the river. The camel felt sympathy for the mouse and so set him to sit on the back. He told the mice that many large animals crossed this river sitting on my back.
The novel idea. Many years ago, a merchant had a pet parrot. Everybody used to praise her sweet voice and glittering feathers. She always got happy hearing her praise. And the merchant provided her with best food and took great care of her. But even then, the parrot was not happy with her life of imprisonment. One day, the merchant decided to go to India along with a trading caravan. Before his departure, he met all his friends and servants and asked them what kind of gifts they wanted him to bring for them. At the end, when he asked his parrot about her wish, she said, I want you to tell the Indian parrots about me. Pay my regards to them and say them from my side that is it fair that they are living a free life whereas I am leading a life of exile? Also, tell them that I am very much sad without them. The merchant promised to do so. Next day, the merchant set off for his journey. When the caravan reached India after a long journey, the merchant saw some parrots sitting on the branches of trees. Seeing the parrots, the merchant recalled his promise made to his own parrot. He stopped his horse and began to convey his parrot's message to them. Hearing the message, one of the parrots fell down from the tree and began to throb. At last he died. The merchant got worried to see this. He blamed himself for the parrot's death. He felt guilty and thought he must be some relative of my parrot. After many months, the merchant returned to his homeland from India. He divided all the gifts among his friends and servants which he had brought for them. He also divided alms among poor. Now the merchant's parrot also asked about her message. Hearing it, the merchant said, I am already very sorry for what I did, so I do not want to tell you anything now. But when the parrot insisted a lot, the merchant narrated the whole incident. He told her that how a parrot died at listening to him. When the merchant's parrot listened to the merchant, she began to throb and then died. To see that merchant got so much grieved, he felt sorrow at losing his dear parrot. He began to weep in sorrow. After weeping for some time, the merchant opened the cage and put the dead parrot on the ground. But as the merchant moved a bit, the parrot opened her eyes and flew up to the branch of a tree. The merchant got stunned at seeing this and at once shouted, My dear parrot, what is this? Tell me, what forced you to do so? Hearing it, the parrot said, What the parrot did in India was actually an advice. He had in fact sent me a message to pretend as dead to get free from the prison. Now you see, I acted upon his advice and I am free. The merchant got very happy at the intellect of both parrots. He happily bade goodbye to his parrot as he had learned a lesson from this incident. So, my friends, the lesson here is the secret to happiness is freedom, and the secret to freedom is courage and wisdom. Bone of Contention. Once upon a time, there were four friends. One of them was a Turkish friend, one was Iranian, one was Greek, and one was Arabian. Once they met a man who gave them a gold coin and asked them to buy whatever they wanted. They thanked the man and began to think that what to buy with the coin. The Iranian friend said, I will buy angur with it. But the Arabian friend opposed him and said, I want to have anab instead of angur. When the Turkish friend heard, he said, I prefer Yazum over Angur and Anab. The Greek friend who was listening the whole conversation said, I am of the view that the best thing which we can buy with this coin is astafal. When they could not reach to a conclusion, they began to quarrel with each other. Gradually, the quarrel changed into a fight and they began to beat one another. Meanwhile, a gentleman passed by. He asked them the reason to fight. So one of them narrated the whole incident. The man was very wise. He had understood that what were they talking about? The same thing in their national languages. Hence, he said, if you trust me, give me this coin. I assure to fulfill the wish of each one of you. He also assured them that he could make their requirements fulfill at a time. So all four of them agreed, and the gentleman went away taking coin. After some time, he returned with 4 bunches of grapes. He divided the grapes equally among them. Everybody seemed satisfied, as all of them actually wanted to have grapes. The gentleman said, all of you wanted to have the same thing. The only difference was that you were talking in your national language. The Coward Watchman. Once a caravan was going to trade. At night, the people of caravan had to sleep under the open sky. At midnight, when all the people were sleeping, a band of robbers robbed all the goods by threatening the watchman. The watchman could not stop the robbers because of his fear of death and let the robbers rob. Next morning, when the people of caravan got up and did not find their goods, they inquired the watchman about their goods. The watchman replied, I did not steal your goods. Actually, a band of robbers had come at night. The robbers looted all the goods before my eyes and went away. The people of caravan asked in surprise, what sort of watchman are you? The robbers were looting our luggage and you kept on seeing them? Defending himself, the watchman replied, I was alone and they were many in number. Moreover, they were all well equipped. The people said, you could at least awake us before their departure. To hear this, the watchman said, I had thought to do so, but as I tried to shout, one of them threatened me with the dagger and warned me that if I tried to shout, he would kill me. So I had got so much frightened that I could not resist. But he remained unsuccessful to convince the people of Caravan. They again and again asked him the same question and reasons for not shouting. At last, he became so much irritated that he at once shouted, I was so much frightened that it was even difficult for me to breathe. However, if you want me to shout now, I can shout as much as you people want. So friends, you see, there is no use to cry over spilled milk. Equal to 30 people. Once a very just king ruled over a country. He had a very intelligent servant. The king took special care of him. He was paid many times higher than the rest of the servants. Moreover, he was also given precious gifts. For this, many courtiers began to get jealous of him. One day, few courtiers came to the king and asked respectfully, Your Majesty, why this servant is being paid equal to the 30 servants, but he is not equally intelligent? The king smiled and said that he would later answer their question. After that, the king ordered 30 men to get ready to accompany him in hunting. Soon they set out for hunting. When the king and his courtiers were hunting, they saw a caravan at some distance, consisting of more than 100 camels. The king ordered one of his courtiers, Go and find where this caravan is coming from. The courtier reached there and investigated from the chief of caravan. Then he returned back and told the whole thing to the king. He said, Your Majesty, the caravan is coming from the city of Hare. At this, the king asked, And where is the caravan going? To hear this, the man was shocked and did not speak. This time, the king sent the second servant. and ordered him to ask as where the caravan was going. Immediately he set out and returned after some time and said, "Your Majesty, the caravan is going to Yemen." Now the king asked him, "What sort of goods are they carrying?" But the servant did not have any answer now. The king now said to the third man, "Now you go and ask about the nature of the goods." The man reached to the caravan and asked about the goods. People of caravan told that they had different sorts of goods, but mostly they had special bowls made in Hare. The man returned and told everything to the king. To hear that, the king asked, "Did you ask when the caravan left Hare?" It was a surprising question for the man, so he got stunned and could not utter a single word. The king sent all 30 of them, and all of them could not satisfy the king. Now the king asked that servant, who was paid 30 times more than the other servants. He told each and everything to the king, whatever he wanted to ask. He completely satisfied the king. After that, the king spoke to the rest of the men. "Did you notice? This man fetched the information alone, which 30 of you fetched. Now you should have realized why is he paid 30 times more than you." Now the courtiers had realized that the king was just and the man was also well deserved to enjoy all the privileges. The punishment of hastiness. Once there lived a wise man in India. Once he met in a stray caravan which was in miserable state. Most of the travelers were in rags. They had no more food to eat. The man felt pity for them. He knew that they would try to satisfy their hunger by any means. Even then, he advised them not to eat the elephants which they could meet their way. He further explained, "The elephants of this region are very healthy and beautiful. Their babies are very healthy and they seem appetizing, but for God's sake, do not even think to kill them. If you ever do so, their mothers will take a revenge and will make you repent." He again and again warned them and advised them to eat only leaves and grass, but never ever think to eat the baby elephants. Saying this, the wise man bade them goodbye and went on his way. Everyone was trying to find something to eat. Suddenly, they saw a fat and healthy newborn elephant. They at once attacked the baby elephant and tore into pieces. However, one of them did not eat the flesh, as he did not forget the gentleman's advice. He also forbade his fellows to eat the baby elephant and reminded them the advice of gentlemen. But everybody turned a deaf ear to his advice. After eating to their fill, all the travelers fell asleep except the one who was hungry. He could not sleep because of his hunger and remained watching his fellows. At midnight, he saw an enraged elephant trumpeting and coming towards them. The elephant came closer. First of all, she smelled his mouth, but left him safe. Then she smelled the mouths of the rest of the people. She could easily smell the blood of her baby, so she killed all of them. So you see, friends, an impatient act can ruin everything. The second mistake. Once a poor villager had nothing to eat at home for 2 days. Therefore, he decided to sell his sheep with the consent of his wife. Next day, he tied a rope around his sheep's neck and went towards market holding rope. He was passing through a deserted area when a thief saw him. The thief began to chase the villager. Taking advantage of the opportunity, he cut the rope, took the sheep, and hid himself in the nearby bushes. When the villager felt the rope loose, he immediately looked back. He was shocked to find that the rope was cut and the sheep was disappeared. Now the villager began to look for the sheep here and there. All of a sudden, he found a man standing by the side of a well, crying bitterly. To see him crying, the villager forgot about his own problem and rushed to him. He politely asked the stranger, "Why are you crying?" Actually, the stranger was none other than the thief who had stolen the villager's sheep. To listen the villager, the cunning thief said, "Don't ask, my brother. I'm ruined. My pouch full of 100 jewels has fallen in the well. But if you kindly help me draw the pouch out, I promise to give 1/5 of my jewels to you." The villager estimated and found that even 1/5 of the jewel's price was equal to the price of 10 sheep. He at once decided to reach the pouch and put off his clothes to prevent them being wet. As soon as the villager jumped in the well, the thief took the villager's clothes and sheep and ran away. On the other hand, the villager continued to shout for a long time that he could not see the pouch. But having no reply, he decided to come out of the well. As he came out, he found the thief had run away, taking his sheep and clothes. So, friends, one must beware of greed all the time. Hello, kids. Hope you're fine. Are you excited for the brand new story? Its title is The Fear of Illness. The students of a school began to feel bored with their lessons. The reason was that their teacher was very strict. He used to punish his students very strictly, even on minor mistakes. The students did not like to attend their school now. The students began to plan the ways to get rid of school. One day, the same topic was under discussion when a child proposed, "If our teacher gets ill, we can escape from the school." The discussion was still going on when another child presented a novel idea. He said that as the teacher would enter our class, a student would go to him and say, "Respected teacher, why you seem so pale? You are absolutely not fine. Are you suffering from malaria or having influenza?" Then all of us will repeat it one by one. Our teacher will get disturbed and he will go home surely. In this way, we will get rid of him. All the children agreed and they decided not to let the secret reveal. Next morning, when the teacher entered the classroom, a child got up and went to the teacher. He paid regards respectfully and then said, "Respected sir, what happened to you? You don't seem all right. Your face seems pale." The teacher scolded the child and ordered him to go back to his seat. But in fact, the teacher had become a bit conscious. After some time, a girl rose up and said, "I hope you will be fine soon, as you're really looking pale." Then all the students repeated the same dialogues one by one. Now the teacher was sure that he was really feeling sick. Now the teacher began to curse his wife inside heart, who did not care about his illness and sent him to school. Then he became more anxious, thinking that his wife did not really love him. He was now actually feeling sick. He took half leave and went home. The students also followed him just to make him feel that he was very ill. As he reached home, his wife asked him the reason behind his urgent arrival. The teacher, who was already disturbed, began to scold his wife. He shouted in anger, "Are you blind? Look at my pale face. Even the strangers can guess that I'm not fine. But you're unable to see my state?" The wife replied, "Who told you that you're ill? You're absolutely fine. Do not worry. It's all rubbish." But she failed to convince him. After a while, the teacher laid down in the bed and began to cry. After that, all the children sat around his bed and began to learn their lessons loudly. Then a clever child asked, "Be quiet, friends. Can't you see our respected teacher is having headache?" When the teacher heard it, he appreciated the child and asked them to go their homes. The children got so much excited and reached their homes singing and clapping. However, they failed to satisfy their parents, who went to the teacher and found he was really in the bed. But actually, he wasn't ill. It was all made up in his mind. The Folly of the Bird. Once a hunter reached to a green field to catch the birds. He spreaded some greens on the trap and hid himself inside green grass and leaves. After some time, a bird also appeared there. To see the hunter, the bird asked, "Who are you? And what are you doing here hiding yourself in the greenery?" The hunter replied politely, I'm a saint, and I spend most of my time in my prayers. I do not need any luxuries, and I feel contented having this grass only. As the bird saw the grains on ground, he asked, "Who has spread these grains?" The hunter replied, "A generous man had come here a bit earlier before you arrived. He gave the grains to me. I spread them here so that the hungry birds and insects may eat them." To hear this, the bird's appetite aroused. He asked the hunter, "Oh, saint, may I eat the grain?" The hunter immediately allowed him. But as the bird went to pick the grain, the next moment he was trapped. The hunter caught the bird and went towards his home. In this way, the foolish bird lost his life. The three advices. Once a hunter went to a jungle to catch some birds. He set the trap at a place, but he could not catch any bird for a long time. During noon, he became disappointed and began to think to set the trap somewhere else. But suddenly, a beautiful sparrow got trapped. When the hunter stepped forward to catch the sparrow, the beautiful sparrow spoke. "Oh, great man, you have been hunting bulls, sheep, and camels in the past, but you remained unsatisfied. Now, how a little bird like me would satisfy yourself? If you let me go, I would advise you 3 times, which will definitely prove beneficial for you." The hunter agreed. The sparrow further spoke, "But I will advise you at one condition. The first advice I will give you while I am in your hand, the second advice I will give you while I am in the air, and the third advice I will give when I will be sitting on the branch of the tree." The hunter agreed. Now the hunter began to wait for the first advice, holding the sparrow in his hand. The sparrow spoke, "Never believe anything which is impossible, although whoever says that." To hear the second advice, the hunter set the sparrow free. The sparrow spoke while flying in the air. "There is no use to cry over the spilt milk. Never repent for what you have lost." The hunter began to wait for the third advice curiously. The sparrow sat on a branch of the tree and spoke, "There is a rare jewel in my stomach. The jewel could make you and your family rich." To hear this, the hunter began to repent. To see his state, the sparrow said, "I had forbidden you to repent." However, the hunter remained repenting. The sparrow then reminded him the first advice, that not to believe any impossible thing. She further said, "How is it possible that there is a big jewel inside my little stomach?" To hear this, the hunter got so much embarrassed and insisted the sparrow for third advice, but the sparrow replied, "It is useless to advise you any more, as you did not act upon my first 2 advices. To advise a foolish person like you is just like sowing seed in the barren land. So my next advice will also fall flat on you." Saying this, the sparrow left the hunter surprised and flew away.
Hi friends, today I'm going to read you a very exciting story. Are you ready? Its name is The Foolish Friend. There lived a mouse and a frog in a jungle. Both of them were very good friends. They strolled the day long and tell stories to each other. Both wanted to see one another's home, but one of them lived on land whereas the other lived under the deep water. Therefore, it was not possible for them to see each other's home. One day the mouse complained, "Dear frog, whenever I come to talk to you, I have to go back seeing you diving here and there in the water. As you know that I am created to live on land. So I am unable to approach you in water. Moreover, I cannot speak loudly. That is why I want to think of an idea so that we manage to meet whenever we want to." Both the friends kept on pondering about this problem and then they came to a novel conclusion. The mouse managed to get a thin rope and told the frog to tie one end of the rope to his leg. He further told that the other end of the rope will be tied to his own leg. Whenever they wished to meet, one of them will pull the rope as a message of meeting. The frog liked the idea and hence they made the rope a source of contact. Whenever the mouse wished to meet the frog, he pulled the rope, and the frog, being pulled, understood that mouse was calling him. The time passed by, and their friendship kept on strengthening. Now they did not worry to be aparted. One day a crow was flying. He was very hungry and wanted to have some food. He searched for food here and there, and suddenly he saw the mouse. He at once swooped at him and caught it in his paws. As the crow flew up, taking mouse in its paws, the frog, bound with the rope, also rose up. Resultantly, both of them lost their lives.
Is the eldest. Once a camel, a bull, and a sheep were going to search for a green pasture. Suddenly, they found a bundle of grass. Every one of them wanted to have the bundle, but without hurting the others' feelings. The sheep looked at the friends and said, "Dear friends, may I suggest something?" The friends happily welcomed the suggestion. Sheep spoke, "Let us tell our age. Whoever is the eldest will get the bundle, because if we divide this grass, nobody's hunger will be satisfied." The bull and the camel appreciated the suggestion, and then thrice of them began to estimate their age. Now they decided to tell about their birth one by one. First of all, the sheep said, "I belong to the herd of sheep from which the sheep of Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam belong. That is why I am the eldest animal." The bull said, "Actually, I am the eldest animal. I belong to the pair of bulls from whom Hazrat Adam alayhi salam used to walk. Hence, I am the eldest, as Hazrat Adam alayhi salam was the first man on earth." When the camel heard the sheep's and bull's conversation, he just bowed his neck, picked the bundle of the grass, rose it up, and began to eat without uttering even a single word from its mouth. The sheep and the bull got surprised seeing this. The camel smiled to see their confusion and said, "I don't think so that I have any need to tell my age, as I am huge. My body structure and the length of my neck is the proof of my long life. Now I need not to prove that I am the eldest." The Faulty Horse. Once upon a time there lived a man who had a beautiful horse. It was such a beautiful horse that even the king's table did not have such horse. One day the owner of the horse went to a party, riding his horse. The king was also there in the party. When the king saw the horse, he got highly impressed with the graceful gait and attractive complexion of the horse. He immediately inquired about the horse, at which one of his servants told him that the horse belonged to the citizen of their own city. Hearing this, the king ordered the servants to fetch the horse to the royal stable. The servants at once carried out the order and snatched the horse from his owner. The man protested a lot, but in vain. The days kept on passing, but the man could not forget his horse even after trying his level best. One day he met one of the king's ministers and told him about his condition. He also requested him to help him get his horse back. The minister was a kind soul, so he decided to help the poor man. The minister was very intelligent and had an understanding of the king's nature. So he went to the royal stable where the king was already present. He was praising the horse while standing beside the horse. Seeing his minister, the king said in excitement, "Look at this splendid horse! Isn't it exceptionally beautiful?" The minister decided to carry his plan into effect and said respectfully, "Your Majesty, it is our self-desire which holds us back to see the real picture. My lord, it is your self-desire which is making you see only the good qualities of this horse, whereas reality is something else. Look, the horse apparently seems so attractive, but the facts are totally different. If you thoroughly examine, you will find that the head of the horse does not suit its body. The head is much larger as compared to the body. It also resembles the head of a bull." Now, as the king pondered the horse, he actually found its head ugly. The king now thought that the horse was faulty. He at once decided not to keep the horse and send it back to its actual owner.